Xbox On. Welcome to Xbox On, a podcast with one host about one console, Xbox. I'm said host Jesse DeRosa, and on today's episode, we'll be talking about the latest Xbox news for the week of December 5th, 2024, including XDefiant is being shut down following news of large-scale layoffs at Ubisoft. Sarah Bond provides an update on buying Xbox games from your Android device. The 2024 Xbox Year in Review is now officially live, and more. On this day in Xbox history, I always mean to say this week in Xbox history, in the year 2003, 21 years ago, Ocean Avenue is 21 years old now, Broken Sword, The Sleeping Dragon was released for the Xbox OG in the US. Broken Sword, The Sleeping Dragon. Now, I never knew this was part of a franchise, and not to act like for even a second I know what this franchise is even remotely about, but this is just one of those box art covers I just recall seeing. It's like you see it and then you're so nostalgic, I guess. I don't know, for me, it's always Blockbuster because my dad worked for Blockbuster in the early to mid 2000s. So I spent many a Friday night or something like that with my dad. I remember my dad would pick me and my brother up from school on like Fridays sometimes. And he'd be like, all right, well, I got to make some runs to a couple of my Blockbuster stores. And we would just kind of hang out with him and go like Blockbuster to Blockbuster around North Georgia and just peruse the video games aisle while my dad would go in the office and be like, reports, numbers, faxes, taxes, Max, HBO Maxes, and then we would just look at video games. And coming up in that OG Xbox era as a kid, I just feel like this is one of those box arts, as many others are the case, where it's like, I would never play this game, I never played this game, I'll never play this game, but I sure do recognize this box art, seeing it on Blockbuster store shelves in that obnoxious rental case that has that graininess to it. I'm talking about the plastic. It's not clear like when you buy a DVD or video or an Xbox game. It's got that grainy clear film that Blockbuster rentals had, and Hollywood Video I think as well. Anyway, Broken Sword, I don't know what to say about this game. I actually watched a little gameplay video of it last night while preparing show notes because I was like, I've never seen this game in action. I have no clue what kind of game it is. Apparently it's an adventure game, like a point-and-click adventure game where you actually control the character and all you do is push boxes around and solve puzzles and do some light platforming. And I don't know. This is just one of those box arts that looks very serious. It looks very mature. Xbox always had, relative to GameCube and PS2 felt like it was everything. It could be for kids, it could be for adults, it could be for teenagers. But GameCube was very much like, that's the console for kids. And Xbox felt like the console for adults. I remember being a kid and being predominantly a GameCube guy because every little kid is a Nintendo fan, and just being like, I love Mario Sunshine and I hope my uncle doesn't touch me during Thanksgiving. And then, I would just see an Xbox game on the shelf and I'd be like, whoa, that's what grown-ups play, because that's actually true. It is what grown-ups play. That's why today there are, Xbox is somewhat of a dying brand relative to the competition because there are just so few grown-ups left in a world where, most gamers are just petulant children bitching and moaning on Reddit about their PC rigs and their PlayStation exclusivity, and the real men are out getting their hands dirty, building houses, fucking taxes and expense reports. And when we get home, we don't get on Reddit and bitch and moan about our consoles. We sit down, we have a cold beer, and we play a couple matches of Halo, goddammit, because that's what men do. So that really explains the console wars right there. Broken Sword, The Sleeping Dragon, I have nothing to say about you, but I do have something to say about all of you. Welcome to Xbox On Podcast, episode 288. Mike Clark writes in and says, Happy Thanksgiving, Xbots. Well, Mike Clark, Thanksgiving was a week ago, but you wrote this on Thanksgiving Day, so thank you for writing in. Hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving if you live in the States and you celebrate that kind of thing. If you live in Canada, hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving a month ago. If you live anywhere else in the world, I know there are other countries that have some kind of Thanksgiving facsimile, but I don't know, it's one of those things. It's do I need to know how other parts of the world celebrate some kind of Thanksgiving adjacent holiday? Not really. Doesn't really have any impact on my life, so I don't know. What do you guys do? You fucking eat fish. It's 20 different types of fish or something if you live in like a Nordic country. And you talk about how you're grateful that you get like the fucking shipping yards and stuff to keep you employed. Like, I don't want to know about what you guys do. We eat turkey, except not me, because we had steak for Thanksgiving. But it was a nice day. Hope you guys all had a nice day as well. And hey, even if you don't celebrate, I hope you just had a really pleasant Thursday last Thursday, because, well, I'm always wishing you a happy Thursday. Anyway, Thursday happens to be the day this Xbox podcast goes live, but not this week. Nope. Yes, this week. Not next week. Damn, what a good transition. I totally fucked up. Anyway, let's talk about next week. So next Thursday, December 12th, is the Game Awards. So, kind of like every year, the Game Awards is always on Thursday. It's so fucking obnoxious. How rude of Jeff Keighley to put his Game Awards right on the same day my Xbox podcast goes live. Doesn't he know I have roughly 237 people waiting for this podcast to go live in each every Thursday? Don't you think he could maybe, I don't know, move his precious Game Awards ceremony up a day or two to accommodate? What an asshole. But because this guy refuses to budge, we have to push the podcast back next week, as we do every year for the Game Awards. So rather than the podcast going live Thursday, December 12th, it will go live Saturday, December 14th. So same time as always, 9 a.m., but it's being pushed back 2 days. Why 2 days? Because the Game Awards takes place pretty fucking late at night on a Thursday. It always runs really late into the night. And then Daddy's got work first thing in the morning on Friday. So I will come home after work on Friday and burn my Friday evening, not drinking at the bar, wishing how I studied something more important in college so I could get a better job, but rather I will record my podcast in my boxers on a Friday night just for you motherfuckers, and you won't even be grateful. You won't even leave 5 stars, and one of you still is going to leave a somewhat unsavory, racially controversial comment. I just fucking know it. I know one of you will. But anyway, the podcast will go live Saturday, 9 a.m., December 14th. Oh well, 2-day delay, and then we'll be right back to Thursdays the following week. So just wanted to put that out there. And as a reminder, as we do head into the thick of this holiday season, Xbox On, unlike most of your baby podcasts you listen to where the hosts need breaks so they can go on vacation with their wives and babies, I don't take breaks. I'm a man, which means I work myself to death. I work myself until I realize there's heart palpitations and migraines, and I go, I know I pay for health insurance, but I'm not going to deal with that right now. And then I keep working. And then one day I have a stroke or a heart attack and I die. And then they go, well, what happened? They say, well, he had all these medical conditions, but he was so goddamn busy recording Xbox podcasts and pushing numbers up on the spreadsheet that he just died. And then they'll be like, wow, what a fucking giga chad. And that's what's probably going to happen to me, 45, 50 years old, maybe. But guys, that's not all. We got an out-of-place comment right here from Tim R. The R stands for ready, because Tim is ready for Christmas. He already got all of his shopping done. He wrote in last week, and he missed it by like 45 minutes after the podcast was recorded. So I said, you know what, Tim? I'm not going to put you at the end of next week's show. I'm going to put you right here at the top of this week's show, because you deserve respect. After all, the R stands for ready, and I'm ready for you. So here we go, baby. He says, I just had to buy a new set of controllers for my wife since since the shoulder button stopped working reliably. The originals were 2 years old from when the Xbox One came out. What? The originals were from 2 years after the Xbox One came out. Okay, so from 2015. How long do you guys normally go before you have to replace your controllers? This is a good question. I actually love this question. It's actually a great little icebreaker way to start the show off. Let me not talk about other consoles, because then we'll just go on forever. But particularly with Xbox controllers, let's start with 360, because I never bought a controller for the Xbox One, or for the OG Xbox rather. With the Xbox 360, well, let's see. For the first year, I shared my brother's Xbox 360, but then a couple years, like 2 years after the Xbox 360 came out, I got my own. I got an Elite, and I love that slick, sexy ass black controller so much. I used that thing from probably 2008, 2008 until still have it. That's still my primary Xbox 360 controller. I used it the entire duration because, Xbox 360 was like when I was in like middle school and high school. So like you're not gonna like, if you get 50, I think controllers were $50 back in those days, like in the mid-aughts. If you get $50, you're not gonna spend it on another controller. You're gonna be like, fuck no, that's video game money. I'm gonna buy another 3 months of Xbox Live. I'm going to buy a Modern Warfare 2 map pack. I'm going to buy a couple games on sale at GameStop. You got to spend your money wisely. I'm going to pre-order Mass Effect 4 only for it to never happen. Ha ha ha, joke's on you. Whatever the case may be. So I used to be religious about like, hey, buy a new console, controller comes with it, that's got to last forever. There is no other controller. So I remember by the end of the Xbox 360 generation, I was getting like analog stick drift, and I was getting just the buttons were so worn and mushy and shitty, but I used it. And then I remember after the fact, like well into the Xbox One generation, for some reason I bought another 360 controller. I bought a used one that was clearly from a slim Xbox 360, the slim model. I don't know why I had that, but I had to buy it at some point. I think it was because one of my buttons was sticking on the original controller, and it was making it hard for me to go back and play Sonic Unleashed. And that was, of course, before Sonic Unleashed became backwards compatible on Xbox One. Now, for Xbox One, that was different because that console came out when I was in college. So Xbox One, that's the console of like, baby, I got disposable income. I'm up till 2 a.m. waiting tables when I'm not in school. Like I got money in my pocket to blow, and I'm not buying textbooks and Quiznos subs. I am fucking blowing money on. I got a fucking Turtle Beach headset. I got 2 controllers, 3 controllers. For the Xbox One, I got obviously the one that comes with the console. I remember in 2015, so 2 years after the console came out, I bought the Halo 5 Spartan Lock controller, which is still one of my favorite controllers I ever had. I tried to get the Titanfall 1 controller because that is also one of the most beautiful controllers ever made, but that thing sold out fast and never got restocked and is still one of the most high valued Xbox controllers out there. And then let's see. And then I think at some point later in the Xbox One generation, I bought a blue controller. So that was probably in the last year or two of the Xbox One's life cycle. So I had 3 controllers throughout the duration of the Xbox One. And the reason I started buying other controllers, well, the Halo one is just because I had the disposable income and I liked Halo and I was excited about Halo 5. But the blue controller was because my OG controller had finally started to shit the bed, and one of the shoulder buttons was like kind of stuck and broken. I'm sure a lot of you know this. OG Xbox One controllers, a lot of the ones from the first few years, a lot of those shoulder buttons would like stop clicking. It was a common issue with those controllers, and that happened with my original one. But yeah, for the most part, I try not to buy too many controllers. When Xbox Series X came out, obviously you get the one with it. I bought that electric eel yellowish looking, like highlight yellow green one. I love that controller, but that controller shit the bed on me after like 6 months. It had another shoulder button issue, which kind of pissed me off because it was pretty fucking new when it happened. That was the first time I ever really had any Xbox hardware that kind of shit the bed on me. I've never had Red Ring of Death on my Elite. I never had other controllers like not last a very long time. But that controller shit the bed on me, and that kind of broke my heart just a little bit. So then I didn't buy anything else. My girlfriend bought her own controller so she could play Fortnite with her own controller. And then I got the Series S, which of course comes with its own controller. So I have the white one that comes with the Series S, the black one that comes with the Series X, and then this electric neon greenish yellow one that just kind of ate shit after 6 months, which I'm still not over. But that's it for me with my Xbox controllers. I wonder to you guys, yeah, how do you do that? Because I know there are people who love to collect the controllers. I know, obviously, Xbox Design Lab. I have no fucking clue how I've managed to avoid the Xbox Design Lab. Ever since it was announced, I've always been like, oh, I'm going to go ham on this. And I always manage to bitch out. I'll customize a controller, I'll like it, and then I just don't check out. And the same thing with the Elite controller. Like, the Elite controller is so cool, but I'm like, it's so expensive, and then I'm going to wear it out, and then I'm going to feel like I don't want to use it because it's so nice, and then I don't want to wear it out, so I won't use it, and then there's no point in having it if I don't use it, and then I just end up not buying one. So I don't know. I listen, I suck at games. I play pretty casually. I don't need an Elite controller. As nice as they are, I don't need one. So I don't know. That's my relationship with Xbox controllers. I'd be curious to know what some of you have to say. I'm sure some of you guys, because I know, and I'll wrap up on this. I know gamers are a dirty motherfucking bunch. I know how some of you guys are. You don't wash your hands before you play. You sweat way too fucking hard when you're playing Halo. It's kind of gross. I'm a very sanitary person in general, but I'm very adamant on like, before I play my Xbox, I need to wash my hands. Like, I cannot touch an Xbox without clean hands. And it gets really bad because I have horribly dry skin on my hands during the colder months. Even here in Florida, it still gets pretty bad. In fact, we're going through a little bit of a cold snap right now, and my hands are pretty fucking dry. But I am adamant that I will not put lotion on my hands before I play Xbox because I don't want the oily, greasy lotion to get on my Xbox controllers and wear them out faster. So I will just wash my hands until they are spanking clean, dry as can fucking be, and then I will play Xbox just to preserve the controllers, because it's like, it's not even necessarily a cheap thing, because I mean, I do want to get as much mileage out of these things as possible, but it's also just like take care of your shit kind of thing, you know? Like, I'm real big on like, take care of your shit. Buy something, clean it, treat it right. Don't be too hard on it. Make it last. Take pride in the shit you own. So I'm very big on my Xbox controllers. I'm not as bad about it as I used to be, but I used to have no problem telling a friend, like, if they came over, like, hey, wash your fucking hands before you touch my controller. Like, I don't, like, there is no snacking and gaming at the same time. If you're going to snack while you play Xbox, you better believe that snack has to be something that you're eating with a fork or spoon, or you can kind of shovel in your mouth. Like, if you're eating a bag of chips, the trick is to take the bag of chips and, like, kind of, dip it towards your mouth and, like, shake the bag and let it fall in your mouth. Don't fucking pick up those greasy, oily chips and eat them and then touch your Xbox controller. I know some of you do that, and you get the grime in between the buttons and under the analog sticks and stuff. You're fucking foul. You're a disgusting, obscene human being. Get the fuck out of here. Go listen to another Xbox podcast, the Xbox Dirty Controller Podcast, hosted by a bunch of dirty Xbots. I don't want anything to do with you, you fucking slimeball. But yeah, Tim R., thanks for writing it. I think that's a really fun question, so I appreciate it. All right, let's get into the show proper now. Starting off with the notable game releases of the week. Well, hey, there's 2 notable game releases. One of them is pretty fucking notable, although it's only kind of halfway out, and that is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. So this game is only out on Friday, December 6th, if you bought the digital deluxe upgrade or edition. So the $100 edition, or you pay the $30 on Game Pass to upgrade to the premium, whatever, so you can play the game 3 or 4 days early. I think it's 4 days early, because Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, because the game comes out Tuesday the 10th, I believe. Yeah, so I don't know. Like, I would normally pay the extra $30 and do that, but I got family visiting this week, so there's just no purpose. So I will play the game when it comes out next Tuesday. But I'm very much looking forward to this game. I've kind of kept the slate clean, mostly just playing Call of Duty in my free time, because I want this to be the game I just go all in on. I'm solely focused on once it comes out, and I'm very much looking forward to this game. I like Indiana Jones. It's a good franchise. That's great, but I just really love machine games more than anything, and I just really want to support whatever they do next, because I really believe in that developer. I think they do some of the greatest work out there, and I'm just really excited for their next full-fledged, full-effort, AAA, ready, fresh on the market kind of product. And yeah, so I'm really looking forward to Indiana Jones from that perspective. The last truly big release of the year for Xbox. Nice first-party game for the first 10 seconds of its life before it heads on to PlayStation. I think the rumor is that it will come to PlayStation between March and May, which is incredibly soon, but whatever. I mean, more people get to play it. I guess that's a good thing. So, fuck you, Xbox fans, but whatever. More people get to enjoy the game. So there you go. The other game that comes out on December 6th, this Friday, is Marvel Rivals. Now, this is a free-to-play, basically Overwatch clone, but with Marvel characters. And when this game first came out, I was like, ew, NetEase, Chinese publisher, gross, communism. And I thought this game was going to suck. I didn't play it, so I can't speak to it. But it does seem like overwhelmingly people who played those closed betas and stuff over the summer had really good things to say about this. Like, people really apparently liked this game quite a bit. So I'm interested in giving it a try just because, hey, free to play. I like Marvel. Whatever. Is communism that bad? Is internment camps for Uyghur Muslims that bad? I mean, come on. It's just, it's just enslavement. We're just mutilating adult humans for their beliefs and their culture, and we're just enslaving people. I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, the U.S. has slaves too, right? We plant drugs in minority communities so that we can disproportionately, arrest minorities and put them in basically work camps, and that kind of thing. And then we convince the public to hate their neighbors so that we can make it an us versus them kind of thing. Anyway, so I was able to go through that mental gymnastics loop to allow myself to say, hey, you can play the Spider-Man Overwatch game. It's okay, Jesse. You're still a good guy. So I don't know. I might give this game a try. It's free to play. Such a low barrier to entry. Not anytime too soon, because I'm going to be balls deep in Indiana Jones. Ooh. Harrison Ford, watch out. And then after that, I'm going to be playing Batman Arkham Origins. And then after that, I might just slump back into Call of Duty. I might go wrap up Marvel Midnight Suns. But I am looking at Marvel Rivals, kind of interested in giving it a go. We'll see. Stay tuned for that. That's it really for the notable game releases. Guys, let's start off with the mildly amusing stories. And keep in mind, again, it's just that time of year. It's pretty slow on the news front, so we don't have too much to talk about. But, next week will be a pretty fucking hefty one with the Game Awards, so we'll go into all that information next week. And then usually, historically, the way that's kind of worked is it's like Game Awards happens, tons and tons of news, and then it's just like whisper quiet until sometime in January. So we'll do some fun things. We'll do like the Game of the Year episode and the year in review kind of stuff, whatever. We'll do all of that. But speaking of year in review, yeah, let's start off this week with the mildly amusing stories. The stories are the kind of appetizer stories, the stories to get you all excited about what's to come. And speaking of coming, I want to go over the Xbox year in review that just came out as of today. I was at work and my brother texted me and said, it's out, Xbox year in review. I played so many RPGs. I played so many Star Wars video games. And I said, whoa, buddy. How about I'm just going to look at mine live on the podcast. So I haven't looked at mine yet. I'm opening it up right now. I just logged into Xbox.com. It said year in review. I clicked on it. Here we go, guys. It says Cold War Cobra. Here is your year in review 2024. So my gamer score is at 92,361. My rewards is at 1,041 points. I don't know why you're telling me that. That's just my current gamer score and reward points. Okay, here we go. They gave me a badge. It says Big Time Brawler. I guess this is like how they identified me as a game. It says there's no better feeling than winning a huge battle with your friends. I don't know what the fuck that means. Oh, you know what? Fuck me. Kill me. God, make it stop. Ow. I see what's happening here. Fucking kill me, dude. So my number one game of the year is Fortnite, which I've played like maybe an hour and a half of Fortnite this year because my girlfriend fucking played so much Fortnite on my Xbox. It says your 2024 custom theme is Fortnite. Fortnite was your number one game of 2024. And it has the picture of the teddy bear with the guitar and the weird fucking nose face man with the pickaxe, the Lego, the race car. Dude, I don't know what it is about Fortnite because I really don't hate Fortnite. Like, it really is a good game. But I fucking hate Fortnite so much. Something about its aesthetic makes me just want to fucking grind my face. But it's okay. It's okay. I know that this isn't accurate. I know that this is my girlfriend using my Xbox. I'm not a Fortniter. That is not my number one game of the year. You're so stupid, Xbox. How did you not know? They need to put like a fucking breathalyzer test on the controller. So when my girlfriend logs on, they're like, you're not Jesse. And then they'll be like, oh, you're not a real gamer. And then they'll just not record those stats because this is embarrassing. It says the total play time on Xbox this year, 523 hours. I'm sure about 400 of those hours were my girlfriend on Fortnite. I played 63 games. It says I preferred console over PC. No fucking shit. It says I earned 305 achievements or 6,700 gamer score, and the month in which I played the most Xbox was the month of April. Fucking of course, dude. Spring break, the theme parks are crowded. It's allergies are out there with all the pollen. You got to play Xbox in the month of April. It's just a no-brainer. All right, it says that I played 480 of my 523 hours were spent on console. It says 22 minutes of my gaming time was spent on the PC. 0 minutes of my time were spent on mobile, and 42 hours were spent on cloud. So that's that Logitech G Cloud getting to work there. That's pretty decent for how little time I have to play video games. It says 71% of my games were action adventure games, which means nothing. 21% were shooters. 4% were role-playing games, 2% racing and flying, and 2% other. I feel like that's wrong, but Xbox knows best. And then it says, let's see how you stack up. I'm in the top 10% of players for time played, top 2% of players for gamer score, hell yeah, and the top 2% of players for achievements unlocked. Well, that's just because most people who buy an Xbox pick up the console and then they play like college football, Call of Duty, and nothing else. So that's kind of an easy one to beat. But top 10% of players in terms of time played, listen, Am I a hardcore Xbox gamer? Yes, I am. I don't know. I feel like for an Xbox podcast host, like my numbers are pretty weak, but I'm busy. I just don't fucking have the time. I wish I had so much more time than I have. I don't have time. So this is really frustrating. It says my number one played game was Fortnite at 212 hours. Oh my God. Thank God it breaks this down. So it says I played 212 hours of Fortnite. This is me being as generous as humanly possible. Maybe, of that 212 hours, at most 2 of those hours were me playing Fortnite. Not only that, but I was probably playing with my girlfriend on Fortnite during those 2 hours. So my girlfriend played like 210 hours of Fortnite this year. Holy shit, dude. Top 15% of most active players. My girlfriend's hardcore, guys. Call of Duty, it says I played 92 hours of Call of Duty. Now, my girlfriend also plays Call of Duty, so I'm willing to bet at least 25% of that time was her. So, again, I haven't played that many video games this year because I remember the year Modern Warfare 2 came out, or, the year after, whatever. I played, I think, like 200 hours of Call of Duty that year, or maybe it was Black Ops Cold War, where I put almost 200 hours into that game. So, really, I haven't played that much Call of Duty relative to the past few years. And then it says Wasteland 3. I played 40 hours of it. I'm in the top 10% of players who played that game. That feels pretty good because I think as of now, Wasteland 3 is definitely my game of the year. I fucking love that game. Just looking at the cover art for it, goddamn, it looks so good. And then it shows just like some other generic stats. It shows games I played with friends. It shows other favorites. Oh, cool. Other favorites. I just want to see the top 5 or so. Let's see. So those are top 3. So Batman Arkham Knight, Destiny 2, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, Atlas Fallen, Batman Arkham Knight 1, Sea of Thieves, Akimbot, Fallout 4. All right, Starfield. All right, we're good. We're good here. Yeah, man. I just it's been a good year for games. I don't know. I think 2020 what is this? 4 has been a pretty damn good year for games. It says friends I play with often. It's got my buddy Papa Doc and it's got my brother Cronky here. So those are the people I played with the most because my nephews are on PC, so they don't show up. You fucking idiots. All right, cool. And then the video there's this video when you scroll down to the very bottom. I fucking love this. It says a very special shout out from Phil to you. I'm not going to watch this live on the podcast because that's boring, but I'm sure it's really funny. There's Phil Spencer saying thank you, Phil. But yeah, my number 1 Game Pass game played was Wasteland 3. I love that. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, feel free to write in. Let me know how much time you played, how many achievements you got, what your most played game was, whatever the case may be. I feel like it'd be fun to hear from some of you guys about what kind of chicanery you guys got into this year with your Xbox game time. But let's move on with the rest of our mildly amusing stories and go into this one here about Xbox saying they're still being blocked from selling their games on Android. So Sarah Bond took to Blue Sky to talk about this. So let's go from VGC and read the write-up. Xbox and Google have seemingly provided conflicting takes on whether Xbox is allowed to sell games and launch games from their Android app. In October, a U.S. judge issued a permanent injunction ordering Google to open its Android marketplace to competitors. The ruling, which was supposed to come forth this month, means Google will not be allowed to block the distribution of third-party Android apps on the Play Store through the Play Store rather. At the time, Sarah Bond was promised that the ruling would mean starting in November, players would be able to purchase Xbox games directly from the Xbox app on Android devices. However, in a new thread posted on Blue Sky, which is basically just new Twitter, on Wednesday, Sarah Bond claimed that while Xbox is ready to implement these features, it's currently being blocked from doing so. She said, because Google is requesting an emergency stay, essentially pausing the ruling, to give it time to appeal to the ruling. They say that it threatens Google Play's ability to provide a safe and trusted user experience, aka money. Xbox can't add its promised features until this is lifted. At Xbox, quote, we want to offer players more choice in how they play, including being able to play and buy games directly from Xbox's app, Sarah Bond wrote. I recently shared our ambition to unlock these features first with the Google Play Store app on Android in the US, while other app stores adapt to meet consumer demands. But due to a temporary administrative stay recently granted by the courts, we are currently unable to launch these features as planned. Our team has the functionality built and we're ready to go live as soon as the courts make a final decision. We are eager to launch and give more choice and flexibility to our players. However, in a statement given to The Verge, Google appears to challenge Bond's claims, saying that nothing is stopping Xbox from adding this feature as promised. They say, quote, Microsoft, this is Google spokesperson. Actually, this is Google spokesperson Dan Jackson. Fucking Dan Jackson, always commenting with his spokesperson. And Microsoft has always been able to offer their Android users the ability to play and purchase Xbox games directly from their app. They simply chose not to, said Google's spokesperson. The court's order and rush to force its implementation threatens Google Play the ability to provide a safe and secure experience. Microsoft, like Epic, are ignoring these very real security concerns. We remain focused on supporting an ecosystem that works for everyone, not just two of the largest game companies. So I call bullshit on this. I don't know the ins and outs, but very, very real, very likely there is some way to interpret this in any direction to make either one of these parties sound like they're telling the truth. But my gut reaction is Google is very, very much going to put up every ounce of a fight they can to prevent people from being able to purchase games and then launch games through third-party apps on Android because they want you to buy apps and games and stuff through the Google Play Store so that they get a rip of everything sold. Think about it like this. It's super plain and simple. Android's an operating system. You know what else is an operating system? Windows. You know how you buy apps and games on Windows? Through the Windows Store. You're thinking, Jesse, no, I don't. No one uses the Windows Store. Exactly. Microsoft would love for you to use the Windows Store, but you don't. I don't. No one does. You know how you buy games on a PC? Steam. And if you're part of the 1%, maybe Epic Games, but there's no security risk. There's no security risk. Everyone buys their games on Steam, an app platform, a gaming platform that is not created by or run by or owned by in any shape or form Microsoft. So wouldn't you know it? Google's probably just talking out their ass because they want to keep having developers and publishers get all their in-app transactions, game sales, launching these apps and everything to be done through their apps that are sold on their storefront. And they want to be able to mediate between all these transactions so they can take a cut of all profits made or of all revenue made. So I listen, without knowing, I don't know how you can't see this any other way. It's not that like, oh, I like Xbox more than Google, so I'll defend Xbox. It's like, no. It's like Google has a financial incentive to block this as much as they can and to see how for how long at the very least they can get away with doing this. And so they're going to do that because they're a fucking business. But I just will say in closing on this, I'm so fucking glad that the government's trying to that the courts are trying to break up Google and make them split off and sell off into smaller companies, because I will say this as someone who uses an Android device and is constantly uploading their podcast to YouTube and constantly consuming all forms of entertainment through YouTube. Fuck Google. I hate Google. Google, go kill yourself. Dude, my Google fucking Gmail account, I don't use Gmail. It's like my second or third like tertiary email service I use pretty much just for this podcast. And dude, my Gmail account was like, you have to buy more storage to get your emails going forward. I'm like, what the fuck? I understand if it's like, we can't back up your photos until you buy more storage. I get that. That's standard business practice. You're going to block me from getting emails until I buy more cloud storage from Google? Listen, I know Gmail is like the number one email service, so probably 80% of people listening to this podcast right now are Gmail users. But like, listen, you do what you want to do, but fuck Gmail. Like, that is fucking slime. I was so happy to just be like, no, fuck it. I don't care. I'm not going to get my emails anymore. Listen, Xbox On's a small podcast. It's not going anywhere. If I'm getting like business inquiries or something to my Gmail account as a result of doing this podcast and managing all of it through my Gmail account, fuck that. I don't care. I'm just on principle alone. I'm not using Gmail. That can fucking suck a dick. So shout out to Outlook, which is what I use, and shout out to Yahoo and AOL and just literally any other fucking email service, because Gmail, you suck dick. Google, you suck dick. And also, I just want to say, Google, fuck you for building those stupid campuses that have inspired Disney to make Epcot look like shit, because you did this. Google, it's all your fault. It's all your fault. Your logo's stupid. Your name is stupid. Your UI is still stupid. And the reason I buy Samsung phones only, basically, is because Android looks so goddamn ugly without Samsung prettying it up with their One UI. So please, figure out how to make your operating systems, your websites, your social media platforms, all the rest. Stop making them look so fucking ugly. Listen, Samsung, Microsoft, Apple, Sony, fucking Nintendo, for Christ's sake. Everyone knows how to make a prettier operating system and prettier user experience, except for you, Google. Why are you so hellbent on making everything look so... Why does Google, YouTube, Gmail, Google Suite apps, whatever the fuck, Android, what's the... Chrome, all that. Why does it all look like dog shit? Like, it's so ugly. Please, get yourself together, Google. Anyway, that's a very Xbox-related conversation. Speaking of Xbox, only other small news story this week is that From Software has said that they're currently not considering making an Elden Ring sequel, which you might be saying, what the fuck? Well, that's how you know they're not an American company. Elden Ring director and From Software publisher Hidetaki Miyazaki discussed the studio's future projects during an appearance at the PlayStation Partner Awards this year, where the game's Shadow of the Erdtree expansion received the Game Award. He says, quote, "We're not really considering development such as Elden Ring 2, Miyazaki told IGN Japan, as translated by Automation. However, he said that the studio wasn't ruling out the possibility of developing new Elden Ring games sometime in the future. Miyazaki said that From Software is currently working on several projects which are diverse in terms of genre. He is directing some of them, while others are being helmed by colleagues." So, yeah, that's how you know From Software is Japanese as hell, is because they made a game that sold as well as... They made a game that sold as well as Elden Ring, and instead of being like, stop everything you're doing, now we're the Elden Ring team, they said, that was fun. I think our creative spark is drawing us to do something different now. Let's go do something different. That as an American, that makes no fucking sense. Like, even like, look at Disney. Even when Disney sucks, they still just double and triple down. They're like, the new Star Wars movie sucked. We just gotta make more Star Wars movies until they stop sucking. It's the only answer. It's like, fucking EA and almost said Remedy. EA and why am I blanking? Titanfall, Respawn Entertainment being like, oh, Apex Legends is popular. I guess just fuck Titanfall, and now we just have to do this because money. So this is such a foreign concept for I know for American companies to have like any kind of creative inclination to like follow your heart and be like, the reason why we got Elden Ring is because we didn't just make Dark Souls 4 and 5 and 6 and Bloodborne 7 and 12 and 9. We just said, hey, let's do something else now. So I love that. God, I love that. I respect that so much. Oh yeah, to all you Elden Ring fans looking forward to Elden Ring 2, calm down. I'm sure you'll get it within the next 10 years. Calm down. Anyway, that's it for all of our slow starter news stories that kind of ease us into the podcast. You know, your waiter says, hey, welcome to the restaurant. You say ribeye, and he goes, whoa, slow down, motherfucker. How about some tomato soup? And you go, okay, well, that was your tomato soup. I hope it was good. Hope it didn't burn your tongue. And if it did, that sucks for you. Let's get into the news. But before we get into the news, I want to tell you about what I've been playing this week. But before I can tell you about what I've been playing, I got to tell you about what it is I've been eating. I don't have much to say about this one other than just Thanksgiving. I mean, what else is the answer? Thanksgiving, right? We're all eating Thanksgiving. So this year we did the same thing we've been doing for the past couple of years where we do steakhouse style because it's just me and my girlfriend that live here. Like all of our families like in Georgia and other places that aren't Florida. And we don't have like any friends or social network here. So it's just like us. It's like just us two. So we just spent Thanksgiving at our house like we always do. And it was, I actually really like it. I love my Thanksgiving tradition. Would it be nice to like maybe go back home and spend the day with my family? Yes. Should I probably start doing that? Probably. But I really do love our little tradition. And we had actually, it was really nice this year because we got the 2 cats now. And so we have a table in our dining room that seats 4. But obviously there's just 2 of us. But for some reason, it's like the cats just knew. It was like, hey, it's Thanksgiving, special meal, it's family time. So it was really cute. So like I sat down, my girlfriend sat down, and then the empty chairs, both the cats sat down, and then they fell asleep. So it was a really cute little moment. We had dinner together. Cats were sleeping on 2 of the chairs. We're sitting on 2 of the chairs. We're eating fucking New York strips and Brussels sprouts and mac and cheese. It was a good time. So we made New York strips, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, mac and cheese, and mashed potatoes. And I meant to buy ingredients to make some bourbon old fashions. Failed to do that, and then ended up drinking half Jameson whiskey and half root beer, which was sounds awful and tastes completely fine. So that's what I had in the fridge, and that's what we drank. Well, that's what I drank. No. Anyway, so what am I trying to say? Thanksgiving. I want to give a special shout out to the mac and cheese this year. So we followed a recipe. If you're a TikToker or an avid, internet trend follower, you may be aware that there's this food TikTok person. I know her from, was it Next Level Chef? Not Master Chef. It was maybe it was Master Chef. She was on Master Chef, one of the Gordon Ramsay shows, because I watch them all and I love Gordon Ramsay. But her name is Teeny. She's like this short little blonde girl from like somewhere in the middle of Georgia with a thick Southern accent. And she was on one of those shows, Next Level Chef or Master Chef. And she kind of got pretty popular on TikTok after she was on the show for, her recipes or whatever. And she has this mac and cheese recipe that's been going kind of crazy all over the internet. I'm sure some of you have heard of it or seen it. And so we decided, fuck yeah, let's try the recipe, And it wasn't anything wild. I've had mac and cheese before where it's like you use condensed milk and all the rest and the different cheese blends and stuff. So it wasn't like crazy what we were doing, but I don't know what it is that's like the special secret ingredient to this recipe, but this shit's good. And the only thing I could think of is it called for adding Dijon mustard, which I thought was a great addition to it. But this mac and cheese was, honest to God, like probably like a top 5 mac and cheese I've ever had in my life. And I'm something of a mac and cheese connoisseur. Listen, I'm to go back to the weird racist conversation from last week about different races and ethnicities and the foods they're associated with. Listen, I'm white. If there's one thing I love, it's mac and cheese. So it was pretty fucking good. My girlfriend made it. It turned out great. She was literally just on mac and cheese duty, so it had to be great because I was doing literally all the other cooking aspects of the meal. So it had to be great, and I think the mac and cheese ended up for sure being the star of the show. The steak was, I did good cooking the steak. Let it sit out, cool off, temperature off, so it cooked through evenly. I let it sit with salt and pepper soaking up and getting all nice and dried out and everything before I cooked it. I got it perfect medium rare on both cuts. It was a very good steak, but mac and cheese was better. Brussels sprouts were good too, so shout out to those. So that's it really for what I've been eating. Shout out to Thanksgiving. I think it's officially been like 5 years. I don't think a single year since I moved to Florida have I had proper Thanksgiving, because the first year we did like all the fixings of Thanksgiving, but with like a Cajun chicken that we did instead. And then every year since then, we've just done some variant of steakhouse. We were doing prime rib for a couple of years, but it ended up just being way too much leftovers for 2 people. And I'm trying not to have a heart attack. So this year we went with New York strip, pretty easy, made cooking a lot easier, and it was awesome. So cool. That's it for what I've been eating. Guys, let's talk about what it is I've been playing. Really, like I said earlier, I'm just really kind of like in a waiting period for indie. I want to play Stalker 2. I thought about restarting it on PC because the aiming is so shitty on Xbox. I feel like maybe this is a rare game where I would prefer it on PC. So I was going to play it on PC, but I thought, I just know I'm so busy right now that I don't have the time to like play all 40, 50 hours of Stalker 2. I'm better off just putting it on ice for now and then waiting for Indiana Jones, playing Batman, which I know I want to play, playing more Call of Duty until I get that out of my system, and then I can come back to Stalker 2. So I decided to do that. So I played lots of Black Ops 6, specifically Zombies. I'm so happy that they have this guided mode in Zombies now. It's actually like one of my favorite additions to Call of Duty in so long. But it's like if you want to play Zombies and go through the Easter egg, there's this guided mode that like caps the game so it cannot go beyond level 15. So it makes it really easy for people like me who play by themselves to be able to still beat the main quest line, because it kind of guides you through it so you don't get lost, and it kind of keeps the difficulty tampered down so that it can't get like incredibly unrealistically difficult for one person. And so I was able to beat the first of the 2 Easter eggs on the Liberty Falls map, and it was a great deal of fun. I really loved doing that, and I'm really looking forward to doing more of them. I think actually, as the day this podcast is being recorded, I think tomorrow the new map, that new castle map comes out, so I'm excited to give that a try as well. But just lots of Black Ops Zombies. Really, honestly, the majority of my free time this past week, I have not been playing my Xbox. I've been reading comic books because a little while back I subscribed to Marvel Unlimited, and it's really weird. I don't understand why. I just had a weird itch to read Marvel comics for no reason. I mean, I grew up reading Spider-Man and like occasionally reading an odd issue here or there, some other things. I had like, for some reason, I had a few Star Wars comics, even though I didn't care about Star Wars. I had a couple like, I don't know, like issues of like Hulk or Wolverine or X-Men, but that was really it. But I've really been enjoying Marvel Unlimited because I found like all these YouTube channels where they basically just give you these reading guides. They're like, listen, subscribe to Marvel Unlimited, which gives you access to like pretty much every Marvel comic ever published. And you can just follow these reading guides and will help you get through like these important arcs. So it's like kind of ways to fast track you to being like a read and learned Marvel comics, fan. And I've been having a lot of fun going through these. I started out because I wanted to read all the Old Man Logan comics, which were fucking fantastic. I loved those. But now what I'm doing is I'm reading the Secret Wars storyline from the 80s, the original one, because I'm like, that's kind of what they're working on in the MCU, right? They're building up to the Avengers Secret Wars thing. So I was like, let me figure out what that's all about. Because the thing I like about the Marvel Cinematic Universe a lot, and I guess Marvel in general, is that every version of these stories is so like drastically different generally that it's like it's not like a retelling of the same story. It's like a different interpretation altogether. So because the MCU, has evolved over time and grown so much that it's like, it's so heavily inspired by different versions and different, of different interpretations of these characters. It's kind of become its own thing altogether. Like the Civil War movie from Captain America, like about 10 years ago, whatever, has like almost nothing to do really story-wise with like how the comics go out. So I think that's really cool because it allows you to like kind of, in anticipation of where the movies are headed, read this original interpretation of this story arc, and then without spoiling the movie that comes out in a year or two, you can see this totally other version of the story arc under the same name, but like happens with different characters under different circumstances and in different ways. And I think that's a lot of fun because it allows you to not spoil the fun down the road for the movies while also kind of getting a taste of what's to come in advance with the comics. And also kind of gives you that historical context for like, these are the story arcs, these are the issues that inspired the filmmakers to tell the stories they're telling now on the silver screen. It's a lot of fun. It's weird because I'm so used to being the guy who like kind of mocks the comic fans. I feel like you don't see it anymore because the MCU has become so ubiquitous that we're kind of past the days of like, well, in the comics it happened like, in the comics Red Skull jerks off the Winter Soldier under the table when they're at the diner, but in the movie he does it over the table. That's so inaccurate, like that kind of shit. But like, I feel like that's not really a thing anymore. I feel like the MCU has become its own thing so much and it's so ubiquitous and it's obviously the most canonized, popularized interpretation of Marvel superheroes that like the more it goes on, the less you hear like, well, in the comics, and it's the more it's just like, I can't wait to see what they do next. And I appreciate it that way a lot. But it is cool to be able to go back and read the comics and like know that like right now, like I'm reading this guide where it's like, you got to read these 3 issues of Avengers, these 3 issues of Spider-Man, this issue of this other Spider-Man story, this issue of the Things spin-off comic book, this issue of Doctor Strange, whatever. It's just like all these different comics you got to read. And then it's like, then you read all 12 issues of 1984's Marvel Secret Wars. And then after that, you want to read this as a postscript because it kind of ties things together. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool. So I'm just like saving all the comics in order to my reading list and then just kind of going through them one by one. And it's cool. It's like seeing like all the setups and then everything kind of comes together. And it's just been a lot of fun. So I've just been reading tons and tons of comic books and kind of like planning my next thing. Like once I'm done with this arc, I think I'm going to read this. I think I'm going to go read every issue of Ultimate Spider-Man probably next because I read a lot of Ultimate Spider-Man when I was a kid. That was one of the comic series I read a lot. And doing my research, kind of learning like where to start and what people like. It's interesting because I guess when I was a kid growing up on Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies, the rest of the world was, the comic world was kind of in agreement that was kind of a golden era for Spider-Man comics as well, which I guess kind of makes sense. A lot of people probably went to comics as a result of those early 2000s X-Men and Spider-Man movies. But yeah, apparently people really love the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. So I'm going to go to that next, read that because I think those comics were around for like 8 years or so. So should have a pretty lengthy run to get through. And oh, it's been nice. It's a good way. Like obviously reading a comic book isn't as like stimulating or fulfilling in like an intellectual sense as like reading a proper book, but I've read a handful of books this year and I don't know, for some reason I feel like the thing that's going to keep me reading right now is Marvel Unlimited, and there's not really a proper novel or anything like that or biography that I want to read. So this is kind of scratching the itch and keeping me engaged with reading, which I try to be balanced. I try to like, watch a couple of the movies and TV shows that are in my backlog, play a couple of the games that are in my backlog, read a couple of the books that are in my backlog. So this is I know I'll never get on top of all of it, but it's my way of staying somewhat well-rounded, is understanding that there's only so much free time and you gotta sometimes you just gotta go through phases or moods where it's like, right now I'm kind of devoted to this thing. I'll come back to this later. And so Call of Duty, you're kind of my background game. Indiana Jones, I'm about to be all up inside those fucking Nazi hating guts of yours. But until then, we're just reading tons of comic books, and that's it. That's it for what I've been playing / reading. Guys, let's take a quick water break and hop into the news. All right, let's jump into the news, you guys. Unfortunately, there's really only one big news story, and it's a sad one. And then there's some wrap-up news, but that's really it. So let's just jump in without any further ado. And this is from IGN. I don't know why so many sites were kind of slow to report on this, but I took the write-up from IGN because they were one of the first to put it up. Ubisoft is officially discontinuing XDefiant in 2025, the publisher announced Tuesday, with all new purchases and registrations being discontinued immediately. As part of the shutdown, the publisher plans to shut down its production studios in San Francisco and Osaka, while ramping down its sites in Sydney, with up to 277 employee layoffs. Roughly half the XDefiant team will be assigned roles elsewhere. Chief Studio and Portfolio Officer Marie-Sophie de Walbert revealed the news in an email sent to Ubisoft employees that was subsequently posted online, saying that the shooter was, quote, not able to attract and retain enough players in the long run to compete at a level that they aimed for, and that is very demanding for free-to-play first-person shooter market. This is from the full message. I kind of cut some parts out, but generally speaking, hang on, it's a little bit of a long one.
Today I wanted to share that we've made the difficult decision to discontinue development on XDefiant. Despite an encouraging start, the team's passionate work, and the committed fan base, we've not been able to attract and retain enough players in a long run to compete at the level that we aim for, which is very demanding for free-to-play FPSs. As a result, the game is too far away from reaching the results required to enable further significant investment, and we are announcing that we will be sunsetting the game. Concretely, this means as of today, new downloads, player registrations, and purchases will no longer be available. Season 3 will still launch, and the service will remain active until June 3rd of next year, out of appreciation for both the dev team and the work on XDefiant's active players. But unfortunately, the discontinuation of XDefiant brings difficult consequences for the teams working on the game. Even if almost half the XDefiant team worldwide will be transitioning to other roles within Ubisoft, this decision also leads to the closure of our San Francisco and Osaka production studios and the ramp down of our Sydney production site. With 143 people departing in San Francisco and 134 people likely to depart in Osaka and Sydney, to those team members leaving Ubisoft, I want to express my deepest gratitude for your work and contribution. Please know we are committed to supporting you during the transition. Developing games as a service experiences remains a pillar in our strategy, and we're achieving significant successes like Rainbow Six, The Crew, For Honor, and among others. It's a highly competitive market, and we will apply the lessons learned from XDefiant to our future live titles. XDefiant executive producer Mark Rubin, formerly of Call of Duty, also shared a message thanking fans and saying that he was heartbroken and that he shared refund details, saying that the purchases made within the last 30 days will be fully refundable, and those who purchase the Ultimate Founders Pack will also get their money back. Refunds should be automatically applied within 8 weeks, he said. Quote, I am unfortunately here today to announce that XDefiant will be shutting down starting December 3rd this year. The new downloads and player registrations will no longer be available, and we will still release our Season 3 content roadmap update. We just talked about that. After a few years, Ubisoft and the San Francisco dev team will embark on a bold adventure to develop a new arcade shooter called XDefiant. Or a few years ago, that's what we went out to do. God damn. It was from the start an incredible challenge. Not only were we trying to shake up the genre by removing skill-based matchmaking while bringing back a more old-school and arcade shooter experience, but we were also diving into the high-risk, high-reward realm of free-to-play. And for that, I want to applaud not only the dev team, but also Ubisoft leadership for taking the chance. Free-to-play in particular is a long journey. Many free-to-play games take a long time to find their footing and become profitable. It's a long journey that Ubisoft and the teams working on the games were prepared to make until very recently. But unfortunately, the journey became too much to sensibly continue. I'm of course heartbroken to have to be writing this post. Yes, the game's been a personal passion of mine for the past few years. I know that not all challenges lead to victory, but I also want to recognize all the developers who are being affected by this closure. Each and every one of them is a real person with a real life, separate from our own, and they have all put in so much of their own passion into making this game. And I hope that they can be proud of what they did achieve. I know that I will always be proud and grateful to have worked for such a great team, a team that really punched above its weight class. And they actually achieved, what they actually achieved is truly remarkable. An early response from players when XDefiant launched was amazing. We broke internal records for fastest game to surpass 5 million users, and in the end we had over 15 million players on our game. That's something to be extremely proud of, especially considering how tough the genre is. So, thank you all for all the developers who put their passion in making this game. If there's one thing I hope we can all take away from the experience, and I highlighted this, it's the importance of open, honest communication being between developers and players. This player-first mentality, along with the respect, non-toxic conversations between the developers and players, has been one of the standout differences that has made XDefiant so special. From my very first post about the game and the vision I wanted to champion, I hope it leaves positive marks on this games industry and treats its players and communities. And how it treats its players and communities. To our players, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I want to express the deepest gratitude from the incredible community that we've grown around XDefiant. Your passion, creativity, and dedication have inspired us every step along the way. Ubisoft also is planning to release Season 3. Blah, blah, blah. We already talked about that. So we're good. We'll stop it there. So, heartfelt, obviously, I just want to kind of give a second to let the words speak, because this sucks. It's a big loss for them. So, let's initial outside looking in kind of high level thoughts, right? This is sad. XDefiant is actually a pretty good game. I played this game many times while it was in beta tests, and every time pretty much was more and more as each test went on. This game's pretty good. It definitely captures some old school kind of Black Ops 2 vibe. I don't love the class-based thing they got going on where it's you choose this faction, they have these abilities and that. I don't like that. I wish it was more blank slate like Call of Duty, where it's like create your own class. Every player is ostensibly the same, but you just kind of you change your loadouts and may the best player win kind of thing. I would have preferred that, but the moment-to-moment gameplay of this game was really good. The map variety was really good. The map design was really good. The colors, the art style, everything was really good. Is XDefiant a stupid name? Oh, absolutely. But I thought this game, which was revealed in a way that made it look really eye-roll and stupid, ended up being something pretty fucking special. And they hired the right talent. And it's like, you got to applaud them for it, because there's only one of two ways this game could have gone. It either would have been a phenomenon and garnered a huge audience and become the next Apex Legends or Fortnite or whatever, or Warzone or whatever, or it could go exactly how it went and have a little bit of a boost at, a high start at first because, hey, it's new, it's free to play, let's check it out, and then just taper off and fail. Originally this game was supposed to come out last year around the time Modern Warfare 3 came out, which would have been great, because to launch a game that is this good around a Call of Duty that was that bad could have maybe been a good PR move for them. A lot of goodwill could have been built, but the game just kept getting pushed back, and its development cycle and all its issues and behind the scenes goings on were so public facing that I feel like it kind of killed this game a little bit, because this game could have really done well from like a shadow drop perspective. Apex Legends did really good because EA was like one day just randomly like, hey, we got some exciting news to share about an upcoming project from Respawn Entertainment that takes place in the world of Titanfall. Stay tuned. And then one day they had this stream where they're like, introducing Apex Legends. Here it is. Here are the developers explaining it. Here's our thought process behind the game. Here's our vision for the game. And guess what? Go play it right now. It's out. It's available right now. And that was such a good way to launch a game like that, because it said, hey, everybody, gather around. Look at this cool thing. Don't worry. If you doubt me, just go play it right now. But XDefiant kind of did the polar opposite of this and said, hey, guys, here's XDefiant. Here's a bad trailer for it. And then it came back a year later and was like, here's a better trailer for it. It's going in beta, kind of closed alpha, whatever. And then some people played it, and then no one talked about it. And then some more people played it, and they kept doing these like kind of low key beta tests, and people kept playing the game, and it became this thing of like, it just got lost in the news cycle because no one wanted to cover it, because it was always having these tests, and it was always kind of there in the background, but it wasn't out yet, and no one knew when it was out yet. And it's like, yeah, tell me about XDefiant when we got a release date for it. And it just kept getting punted. And then finally they were like, it will come out in fall 2024 or 2023. And then they just kept saying, oh, it failed certification. Oh, we got to go fix this. Oh, we got to get the netcode, buttoned up a little bit more. Another month, another 3 months, another 2 months, another month. And they kept doing that. It just got to the point where it's like, by the time this game finally launched, it was in good shape, no doubt. But it was just, all of the hype had been spent. All of the buzz around this game was gone, because it had been years of trailers and closed alphas and closed betas and false release dates and windows and pushed back windows and all these, community always talking about a game but never releasing the game. And so I feel like when it came out this summer, it was like, yeah, Black Ops 6 looks good, hey, and then it's just to try and come out with a game that's going to challenge or attempt to eat into ostensibly, assumedly the Call of Duty community is a huge undertaking. And most attempts at something like this are guaranteed to fail. But I truly believe if any game could have succeeded so far, XDefiant is a pretty good contender. In fact, as someone who's pretty much a Call of Duty guy when it comes to these like FPS military multiplayer shooters, I, as a Call of Duty fan, think that XDefiant is a far better adjacent game to play as an alternative to Call of Duty than something like, say, Battlefield. I know people love to compare Call of Duty and Battlefield, but they're similar in some ways, but they're really not. Battlefield's large scale, destructible, more realistic, tactical style first person military shooter. Call of Duty's very like laser tag, run and gun, tag, you're it, respawn, small maps. So they're very different, but I don't know, in a world where everyone likes to be Call of Duty versus Battlefield, I feel like a better comparison would have been Call of Duty versus XDefiant. And XDefiant, in my opinion, is a pretty damn valid competitor to Call of Duty, and it's just too unfortunate that it wasn't able to work out. And I'm kind of proof of that, because I played this game a lot of times in these closed betas and said, this game's good, people will like this game, it's really good. And they were really communicative with the audience, and they were really transparent about things. But no matter what, skill-based matchmaking, like marketing, that they're not going that direction, which is a great way to capture a lot of hardcore Call of Duty fans' attention. and then just constantly saying, hey, this is what's up. This is why the game's not out. This is what we're waiting on. It was really awesome to see that from a hardcore perspective. But in terms of just like having your moment, having your pop, having your shadow drop moment, having your hype moment, I just feel like it was, it was like a kettle just steaming, letting out all the steam slowly over time, when you should have just let that thing all that pressure build and just let the lid blow off. And that would have been way more successful for them. And that's unfortunate. The only other thing I really had to say about this is I do want to highlight this one moment where Mark Rubin says, if there's one thing I hope we can all take away from this experience, it's the importance of open, honest communication between developers and players. Not to shit on this guy whose team is getting fucking dismantled and many of his peers are about to be without a job, because that's already sad enough. But this game has been rumored for months to be in trouble and, they're going to shut it down and this and that. And the right thing to do would have been just fucking ignore the chatter and be like, no, we're not addressing that. We don't comment on rumors. We don't comment on speculation, and just say nothing. But they constantly, Ubisoft, XDefiant dev team, Mark Rubin, these guys, they constantly came out there just like, the game is doing great. We're not shutting down the game. The game's about to have another season of content. Stop making up rumors. You're wrong. You're lying. And then like a month or two later, they're like, yeah, so the game's shutting down because the player count's pretty low. It's like, dude, you guys spoke to, I don't think that had the biggest impact on the player base. But it's not good to deny things and then immediately admit they're true afterwards. It's just like, don't be like Xbox, be like PlayStation. Shut your fucking mouth. Stop talking all the time. We don't need to hear about it. We just found out Sony is also working on a PlayStation handheld, much like Microsoft is working on an Xbox handheld. The difference is we're getting rumors and reports from PlayStation saying, yeah, we're R&Ding things, we're exploring it, we're pretty interested in it, but nothing's confirmed. And Sony's like, hey, we're not talking about these leaks and rumors, we're just going to ignore them. Microsoft, on the other hand, is in the exact same position where they're like, yeah, we're exploring it, we're probably going to do one, but, nothing's confirmed yet. We got nothing really to share right now. We're a few years away. But on Xbox's side of the fence, they're like, let's talk about it. Phil Spencer says, I think there should be an Xbox handheld. And the fans are going wild. And here's fan-made renderings of what it will look like. And oh my God, will we get this in the next 2 years? And this is the night and day difference. It's like, this is part of why Xbox struggles, is because they don't shut the fuck up. They just keep saying things when they need to shut up. And I feel like that's kind of what the XDefiant team did here a little bit as well, where it's like, you guys just need to shut up. Just let the game do its talking. Put your heads down. Focus on making great content for the game. And, let the internet be the internet. Let the internet just be a cesspool of stupidity like it always is. But you guys stay out of it. But anyway, of course, thoughts and shout outs to the people affected by this. The teams in Sydney and Osaka and in San Francisco, people losing their jobs, the people being shuffled around. Obviously, you hope nothing but the best for them. It's a really bad time in this sense to be in the traditional games industry, because there's just a lot of sad stuff like this happening. There's just not enough. And the thing is, there's just not enough place in the market. I feel like it must be said, because is XDefiant a bad game? No. Should a player pool of 15 million be able to sustain a game? No problem. Absolutely. But in a world where Fortnite has so much of the community and Apex has so much of the Warzone and all these games have so much of the community, it's like, there's only so much attention, so many players, so much that can go around. And unfortunately, the market had to speak and say, hey guys, we just don't have room for this one right now. We already have a Call of Duty, and we call it Call of Duty. And by the way, Call of Duty is now on Game Pass, so it sucks. I just feel like this game could have done better if it came out a year sooner or so. But anyway, rest in peace to XDefiant, a game I didn't play a whole lot once it actually came out, but I really did like it. So yeah, that's it's too unfortunate. So guys, let's move on with our little wrap-up news from the Xbox Wire. We got some games coming and leaving Game Pass for the rest of the month. So let's go over these Game Pass updates. Coming soon, the rumors are true. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled is coming to console Game Pass. In fact, it's out as of the time you're listening to this podcast. Along with Forza Motorsport from last year is now in Game Pass Standard for those subscribers. Also in Game Pass Standard, we got Humanity and Haunty, which I don't know anything about. On December 5th, EA Sports WRC will come to cloud, console, and PC for Game Pass Ultimate members and PC Game Pass subscribers. And then, of course, on the 5th as well, Overthrown, a game preview game, will come to day one to Game Pass Ultimate and PC Game Pass subscribers, cloud, console, and PC. But what we're really looking forward to, of course, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, cloud, console, PC, December 9th. I misspoke. I said the 10th. Comes out Monday the 9th on on Game Pass, it's a day one Game Pass game for Ultimate subscribers and PC Game Pass. So if you don't want to pay the $30 upgrade, if you don't want to buy the the $99 deluxe edition, you can buy this. You can buy a month of Game Pass and play it on the 9th. Just wait a few more days. So 3 days later, not that bad. So, yep, that's it, you guys. And then, of course, Wild Frost comes to Game Pass on December 10th. Carry On comes back to Game Pass, Ultimate, Standard, and PC on January 2nd. And on January 7th, Road 96 comes to Ultimate, PC, and Standard Game Pass. Now, it's not all rainbows and butterflies. It's compromise and whatever that Maroon 5 song I'm always quoting is. But leaving Game Pass in December, we got a handful of games. So on the 15th of December, Amnesia the Bunker, Forger, Forza Horizon 4, Rainbow Billy, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Tin Hearts, and The Quarry will all be leaving Game Pass. Man, The Quarry just got there. I still haven't played that. And then on December 31st, the following games will also leave Game Pass. Blaze Blue, Cross Tag Battle, Close to the Sun, Humankind, Lego 2K Drive, still haven't played that, McPixel 3, and Party Animals. So it's a lot of notable Game Pass entries all leaving this month. So play them now while you can. And remember, with Forza Horizon 4 leaving on December 15th, that's not just leaving Game Pass. That game is being delisted from the Xbox storefront. That game is going offline because of licensing stuff. So if you don't buy it now, you will not be able to play Forza Horizon 4 unless you buy a physical copy or unless you already have it and want to re-download it. And you'll only be really left with Forza Horizon 5 going forward. So we talked about that earlier in the year. Just remember that if you want to be a collector or not be shut out from an Xbox first-party game for the rest of forever. So that's it for all of our news, you guys. Time for the important enough news stories, important enough to make the podcast, but not important enough to warrant their own discussions, of which we have two quick ones here. Liza P will be getting DLC in the first quarter of 2025. It has been confirmed by developer Round 8 Studios. And lastly, Xbox Series X and S consoles have received a new dynamic background to celebrate the launch of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. This new background shows Indy standing at the entrance of a cave. You can go ahead and try out that new background now if you go into your Xbox settings and personalization options, and go ahead and have a great time with that. And you guys, that's it for all of our news this week. That leaves us with only one other thing. The best part of the show and the last part of the show, the comments, the shout-outs from YouTube.com. You write in every week, and I read the comments, and we talk about them. So you go to youtube.com/XboxOnPodcast. That is at XboxOnPodcast at youtube.com. Click on the latest episode. Don't click on episode 43. You're not being cute. No one thinks it's funny. I'm not going to go back and read it. Click on the latest and greatest episode. Drop a comment, just like you drop a fucking turd in the toilet, and you say anything nice, mean, or something in between. Just say something, and we'll read it here, and we'll talk about it. We'll dissect it. We'll take you to task. We'll probably talk shit about you. But thank you for writing in. Also, remember, if you are on podcast services, particularly at Apple services, but any podcast service, I really, really, really want your 5-star review. If you have an inclination to leave a 3-star review, you say, hey, Xbox On's a good podcast, just shy of a great podcast, but there's some room for improvement, and here are my thoughts about it. Kindly, sir, shut the fuck up and sit back down. But if you think, oh my God, Xbox On is the best podcast ever made, I am not capable of critical thinking, and therefore I cannot judge Jesse for anything he could do better, I'm just going to give him 5 stars. I want your review. Leave your review. Help me get up the algorithm so that some of these PlayStation fanboys are suggested this podcast. And out of outrage, they will click on the show and say, ooh, I'm going to listen to this show so I can listen to it. And then they'll listen to it. And about 20 minutes into it, they'll be like, a Marvel Unlimited steak dinner for Thanksgiving. How could I ever hate Xbox? And then they will subscribe to Game Pass. And then they'll buy Xbox games on Android devices. And Google will shut down. And XDefiant will come back from the dead, and Rob Zombie will write a whole ass song about it. So do that. Let's make it happen. Well, let's get into the news. Or, nope, not the news. Idiot. The comments. No order to the comments this week because, honestly, lazy boy. Starting off with, Cronky writes in and says, so Thanksgiving and all my family stuff, my wife's cousin came, and his son, like 8 years old, forgot his Nintendo Switch at home, so he's upset. So I let him borrow my Switch, and while I'm thinking this kid's going to be hyped because I got all these Mario parties and Zelda games, nah, kid just goes for Fortnite. Happy to help, I guess. That anecdote, I don't know what else I was expecting, but fuck. I mean, I feel like you should have expected that. But I love that. I love that so much. Ooh, the new Ooh, the new Zelda game where you play as Zelda for once instead of Link. Ooh, what else is new on Switch? The new Nintendo alarm clock for man children, you know? Nah, I'll just play Fortnite. I just want to just fucking build blocks and shoot kids. I love it. That's awesome. Shout out to that kid for just fucking being a kid, enjoying stupid kid shit. Cargo Runner UK writes in and says, I didn't even know that avatars were on the Xbox One and Series consoles. On Xbox 360, they were really obvious, and you'd see your avatar when you log in. It's a really nice way of personalizing them on your console. It might be the one reason why people feel affection for the Xbox 360 console and not affection for Xbox One. When I turn on my Xbox console now, it just feels a bit like a soulless shop front. And have a great Thanksgiving. Well, thank you, Cargo Runner. I appreciate you. Hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving as well. Maybe you celebrated in the UK. You had, I'm going to guess, shepherd's pie and tea. And isn't that so rude, dude? Do you think, like, people don't do that to Americans, right? American Thanksgiving, you're just going to have yourself a cheeseburger and a beer. Actually, maybe they do. Sounds fucking awesome. That's a Thanksgiving I want to go to. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I personally like the Xbox, controversial take. I think the Xbox One's like launch dashboard, while it was missing some core features, and that was a problem. I think aesthetically that Windows 8 look was chef's kiss, and I hate saying that when I say it. But anyway, it gets the point across. I thought that was beautiful. I loved that look for Xbox, but that's just me. Yeah, I don't know that the removal of avatars being front and center really did a whole lot to making Xbox feel soulless or like a shop front. I don't agree with you. I actually think Xbox looks really clean and functional while still having some style and charm. It's not as ugly as, say, I don't know, stock Android or Chrome or anything Google makes. But yeah, it's not the sexiest thing in the world. I get it. You know, Blades 360. I think the 08 360 update personally is better. In OG Xbox, these iconic startup screens and backgrounds and all these menus and stuff, super cool looking. I think in a world where everything has to be really modern, streamlined, simple, snappy, and kind of boring and beige, I think the Xbox dashboard looks pretty good, all things considered. I'm a fan. That being said, oh yeah, they definitely shoved avatars in a corner. It very much felt like this thing of, we got to keep this here because there's a fan base that likes it, and Xbox is all about catering to their fan base. But at the same time, they shoved it in a fucking corner and made it an afterthought on Xbox One and Series X. So there's no denying part of its demise came from Xbox making it such a tucked away feature. And yeah, I think that absolutely has something to do with it, but everything to do with it, I don't know. Cargo Runner, thank you for writing in. Thank you for being such a fucking sexy man. I just have a feeling that you're a man that women look at and go, wow, he is sexy. And then that's a thing that would make you feel good about yourself, presumably. And you'd feel like, hey, I'm a little confident. Maybe I'll wear some body spray next time I go out in public, and people will be like, ooh, now he smells sexy too. So that's cool. Cronky comes back and says, I really want to play Stalker 2, but I'm currently in my annual let's replay all the Warcraft game phase. I think you should go try and view it through the lens of Wasteland 3 and not Metro. Stalker 1 is closer to Fallout 1 and 2 than pretty much any other video game. So comparing Stalker, the series, more to like Fallout or Wasteland than to something like Metro, well, that sounds awesome. That makes me like Stalker way more. That makes me think Stalker is something I'll probably like even more than Metro. But that being said, I haven't played enough to get hooked yet. I really do want to give it a PC run. I feel like there's something about PC gaming when it's cold and cozy out, maybe around Christmas time, being locked in your little office room playing Stalker 2 on the PC. There's something that sounds kind of enticing about that. Maybe I'll give it a go. I'm a little worried that there's too much PC gaming going on in my near future, though, because this Batman game I'm about to play is on PC because it's not backwards compatible or something like that. So I can't play it on my Xbox. And then Spider-Man 2 comes to Steam in January, which I'll be playing on PC, of course. And so I don't know. Do I really want to be playing that much PC? We just did my Xbox year in review. We saw that my time played on PC was very low. I would like to keep it that way. I would really hate for 2025 to be the year of Jesse playing an extensive amount of PC games. So I don't know about that, Cronky, but thank you for, thank you. Lewis Beer Reviews writes in and says, I was born in 1995. Hey, me too. I think that's why you wrote that. 1995. I know if you're born in the 90s, you're not old. So let me just say to all of you listening who were born in the 70s or the 80s, stop. I know this is going to make you cringe. I understand. I get how it works now because now I talk to people who I'm like, oh, you're an adult. When were you born? They're like 2004. I'm like, what the fuck? So I get it. I get the feeling. But I feel like people born in the 90s, like people in 95, whatever, are getting to an age where it's like, shit, I am definitely not a kid anymore. Like, I am definitely no longer like, give the guy a break. He's just a kid. You know, like when you fuck up at work, when you work in retail in high school, and the guy's like, oh, he's just a teenager. He's just a little kid. Give him a break. Because everyone's like a little whiny baby from Boston. And you're just like, thank you. I'm young. That's right. I'm young. And then someone's like, oh, you got a girlfriend? That's so cute. You'll break up in 3 months because you're just a kid. Young love, puppy love. And it's like, oh, that's cute. I got so much life ahead of me. But now it's like, shit's getting real, dude. I know people that got kids. I know people that got mortgages. I know people that aren't here anymore. They just didn't make it. And it's like, what the fuck? We're getting old, man. Pokemon's like a thing. They're trying to get millennials pockets for all this fucking Pokemon money. And I'm just like, oh my God, there are people who got like money for the mobile app and they're blowing cash on this shit. And it's like, we're getting old. Like people in the 90s, my age are born in the 90s, like my age, are now kind of on par with like where all those 80s kids were 10 years ago, where, you know, everything was like, are you an 80s kid? Are you nostalgic? Watch this Ghostbusters remake. It's like, now I feel like shit. Now they're on to me. Now they're like, are you nostalgic for Nick at Night and fucking Disney Channel when they had cartoons on it? And I'm like, yeah, a little bit. And they're like, cool, buy shit. I'm like, it's working. No. So I don't know really what I'm saying. There's no point to what I'm saying, but it is increasingly scaring me as I meet people who are of drinking age, born in 2000. I don't know what is drinking age now, like 2005, fucking 2004. God, I don't know. It's weird. It's about to be, right? Yeah, it's about to be. Fuck. God damn, dude. In 1 month, there will be kids who were born the same year that Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 came out that will be old enough to drink alcohol. That makes that, dude, holy shit. Holy crap, dude. That makes me want to microwave my testicles. That's such a weird thought. Billy Burgess writes in and says, I was married in 1994. Now I'm single in 2024. Good for you, Billy. Hopefully you're happier than you've ever been. Well, Lewis and Billy, thank you both for writing in. William Fontanez writes in and says, I don't understand this William guy. He keeps writing in with these comments. I don't know what you're getting at with these comments. I don't know if I'm supposed to laugh or feel uncomfortable, but in any case, let's read it anyway. Clearly, I'm a problem because my attitude, my sense of humor, and the way I conduct myself on this podcast is attracting people like you and enabling people like you to say things like this. And then I compound the issue by reading your comments on the air. But I did say you can say anything nice, anything mean, or anything in between. I think this comment is firmly in that in-between category because I don't know what you're saying, William, but nonetheless, William Fontanez says, as a rich guy, I always laugh at gamers who use their consoles as a flex to brag. I'm talking next-gen gamers who make fun of last-gen users who can't afford to upgrade. I see why some people are destined for minimum wage. Can't knock them, though. The confidence of these gamers who will never see 2 commas in their yearly income is astounding. These are the same types of people I see when I'm on a plane in my first-class seat. I'm talking about the guy who's got Louis Vuitton luggage but sitting coach. And you want to brag? Like, these people are jokes to me. Anthony Jerry writes in and says, I hate the way that Xbox Connect was disrespected. Hardcore Xbox gamers saw it at the beginning of the Xbox's decline, when some even joking that it was better suited for non-gaming activities like scientific research. But let's not forget, the best-selling Xbox game of all time is a Connect title. The irony is that, well, it was a pack-in title, wasn't it? So, the irony is that all the disrespect primarily comes from adults. Kids, on the other hand, had no complaints. Watching clips of them having fun brings back fond memories of my own Kinect experiences. So the negativity doesn't bother me anymore. If you weren't a kid using it, you just wouldn't understand. Absolutely, man. But that applies to so many things. Like just a minute ago, I was doing, I don't know why I hate it, but I hate Fortnite. Shut up, dude. And then my brother's talking about how his cousin or whatever the fuck cousin-in-law, how's that work? Whatever. Extended family comes over for the holidays, a little 8-year-old, and he's like, I want to play Fortnite on your Nintendo Switch. It's like, it's just that kind of thing of like, a lot of things aren't for a certain generation, but the older kids who have the voice and have the opinions and have the issues, the insecurity issues that make them take to social media to let an empty room of 300 followers who are half-heartedly listening, listen to every fucking take they have about every fucking mundane piece of shit. So it reminds me of last year when I saw the Mario movie. So I went and saw it with my buddy Hunter, right? We go to the theater, we watch the Mario movie. He had already seen it a day or two before I did, so he already knew what to expect. And when the credits rolled, he goes to me, well, what did you think of the movie? And I'm like, hey, for what it was fine. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was fine. And he goes, yeah, I think as someone, as a 30-year-old man, knowing that this movie wasn't made for me, I think they did a great job with it and kids are going to love it. And I remember thinking about that. I'm like, that right there is the fucking spirit. That is the attitude. When Xbox Connect came out in the 2010s, it wasn't about 35-year-old Dan who played Halo Combat Evolved with his buddies through OG Xbox LAN parties. It's not about that fucking guy. It's not about, I don't know, for some reason, early 2000s, 9/11, George Bush, Xbox, Mountain Dew, Doritos, Halo. Like, in my head, I'm just like, guys with buzzed heads, combat veterans, Gulf War, or rather, Afghan War, LAN parties, Halo, like I think about like that era of Xbox, and then I'm just like, I don't know, man. It's just, I don't think Xbox Connect is coming to 360 because they're trying to get you and your buddies that love Halo Combat Evolved to hop in and say hi to Milo, if you remember, if you know, on your Xbox Connect. Like, the point of this is like, Xbox wants a piece of that evergreen, all ages friendly, interactive Nintendo Wii kind of market share. And they think this is the device that's going to get them there. And of course, now we're at the point where Connect is old enough that the kids who are 8 and 10 years old and grew up with Connect, who are now in their 20s, are like, yo, I grew up with Connect and that thing was awesome. I had so much fun playing that thing because it was for them. And so they didn't come at it with a bitter chip on their shoulder and a preconceived notion about what it was, what it should be, whether or not it should exist, whether or not it's purely Xbox, or if it's just some cash grab or some soulless, unaligned brand thing. They just said, hey, this is a thing I used to do on my Xbox when I was a kid. And I had fun because when I was a kid, I wasn't so bitter about things. I just wanted to have fun. So I had fun with Connect, and now I'm older, and now I'm nostalgic for the things I liked. But those kids who are now in their 20s, who grew up playing Xbox Connect, will find some way to get pissed off about something else. Maybe they'll hate on that mac and cheese recipe I enjoyed so much last week. I don't know. Who knows? Bitterness and hatred, it escapes no man. Everyone becomes a fucking grumpy old man at the end of the day. But yeah, I think that's really it. Like, Xbox Connect is awesome. I never really used Xbox Connect for gaming purposes. I never bought the 360 Connect. I'm sure it was significantly worse than the Xbox One Connect, but as someone who did have Xbox One Connect, because I bought the Xbox One at the beginning when you couldn't buy the console without the Connect, I must say, I fucking loved Xbox Connect. I love Xbox On. That's why we start the stupid fucking podcast like that. That's why the podcast is named Xbox On. I love fucking Xbox Snap MLB, Back in the day, it was called MLB at Bat. So I'd be playing Titanfall. I'd be like, Xbox, Snap MLB at Bat. And then I'd be watching the Tampa Bay Rays with like 2 inches of the screen on the far right side and playing Titanfall on 75% of the left side of the screen. I'd be like, this is fucking awesome. It's great. It's great. The hand gestures worked. Like, the controller's across the room. I'm laying in bed. I just want to swipe over to fucking whatever, Internet Explorer on my Xbox because I'm retarded. And your hand gestures. And it worked. I love that shit. Dude, shout out to Connect. I refuse to let the OG Xbox fans disrespect and paint Connect in this light that it just doesn't deserve to be painted in, because Connect was fucking awesome. I'm right there with you, Anthony Jerry. Not really sure what your question was about, but I'm just kind of riffing on my thoughts about Connect, and that's fun. Yeah, so yeah, Connect was disrespected. Maybe one day Bleeding Edge will get its. I wonder if Bleeding Edge is ever going to get its comeuppance. It's like one day, in 6 years, some 20-year-old is going to be like, I grew up playing Bleeding Edge on Xbox One. Whatever happened to that game? That game was so fucking cool. Everything has its audience. So remember that next time you want to make fun of Sonic the Hedgehog, you freaks. All right, Daniel Winky writes in and says, I didn't know you were born in 1995. I must have said I was born in 1995 last podcast, because we're getting lots of these comments. That makes us Gen Z, so we're practically the same age. I'm not mad at you for thinking Sonic Unleashed is the greatest Sonic game, but it's definitely debatable. No, it's not. There are so many great Sonic games out there, like Sega Superstars Tennis and Sonic All-Stars Racing. But even so, I respect your opinion. Put a pin in that. As an Xbox owner, I have to admit, the backwards compatibility is unbeatable. Absolutely. I can play almost all my Xbox 360 Sonic games on my Series X except for a few. I really wish all the dedicated Sega fans like you I really wish I was still a dedicated Sega fan like you. I mostly just play Sonic games that were on the Xbox 360. You're way more dedicated than me, playing every new Sonic game that has come out since. I'm not that loyal, haha. Well, dude, you're definitely, I mean, do what you want to do. Enjoy your free time however you see fit, right? But, if you enjoy 360 era Sonic, there's some games you should definitely give a go. Sonic Frontiers is truly phenomenal. Sonic Generations X Shadow is truly phenomenal. And then since you're an Xbox fan, just in case you missed it when it was on Wii back in the day, Sonic Colors, now that it's on the Xbox, pretty fucking good. So I definitely recommend not sleeping on those games. But yeah, Xbox 360 era, I also view it as a kind of good era for Sonic. I definitely think the Xbox 360 generation was a way better time for Sonic than the PS2, Xbox, GameCube generation, which was basically Sonic Adventure 2 DX, Sonic Heroes, and then a couple Genesis collections. Like, nah. In the 360 years, you get Sonic 06, but you get Sonic Unleashed, you get, on the Wii, you got Black Knight, you got Colors, and then you got Generations. Dude, so fucking good. I loved it. Yeah, am I Gen Z? I don't know how that works. I've looked it up in the past, and it says technically if you're born in 95, you're at the kind of the cutoff for millennial. I think millennial ends at like 97, 98 or something like that. So technically, by the definition of it, I am technically a millennial. I'm a late millennial. But first of all, that's fucking stupid to like have to put yourself in a box. Who gives a shit? But I do feel like, I guess anyone feels this way when they're kind of born in one. Like if you were born in the early or like the late 80s, you might feel kind of like this like in between of like, sometime like the mid to late 80s, you might feel like this kind of crossover of like the millennial Gen X thing if you're born in like the mid 1980s. So I could see that, but I definitely feel like sometimes I am perfectly mixed Gen Z and millennial. I think more so millennial just because I had a lot of older siblings. So a lot of the things that I was exposed to and that influenced me growing up were things from my older siblings. And all my older siblings are pretty much, actually, I have so many older siblings that one of my older siblings is Gen X. But, most of my older siblings are millennials. So I feel like I was exposed to a lot of their music taste, their movie taste, their sensibilities, their sense of humor, their friends and the way they behaved, growing up as a child, watching them interact in high school and all that. So I feel like I had a lot of millennial influence on me, but I definitely also feel very Gen Z in some ways, definitely part of that. Don't pick a political side, just fucking burn the government down. They all suck, which is a very Gen Z attitude. I'm very Gen Z in that I don't care for cable television. I get 99% of my TV entertainment from YouTube. But I don't really know. Like, what does any of that mean? So, brother Daniel Winky, I'm glad to have something in common with you. Our shared love of Sonic and our shared time frame in which our mothers had intercourse and made us, not together, of course. That would be inappropriate if you were of that belief system. So, wow, I wish I just shut up, dude. Sonic Unleashed, it's the best Sonic game. Kindly, politely. All right, and then we're at the home stretch. A couple more left here, so let's get into Blake Chandler writes in again. And this is controversial. I don't know if I'm technically supposed to read this one. I don't know. Let's see how this goes. My name's Blake Chandler, not Blackened Chandler. I fucked up. Listen, when I see words all crunched together with no spaces, I get super dyslexic. It's not a true medical thing. It's a laziness thing. But I see B-L-A-K, I see an N, I see a D somewhere, and they're like, blackened, whatever. I like blackened seafood. I like grilled snapper with blackened seasoning, whatever. So I just see Chandler. I'm blackened Chandler. But no, your name is Blake Chandler, absolutely, and I just fucking read like an idiot. But you said, my name's Blake Chandler, not blackened Chandler. You made me sound like a pants-sagging people, but it's cool. Hey, fuck you. Stupid thing to say. Fuck you. If you have trouble spelling my name, I'll give you a Harry Potter book. And if you can't read that, I'll give you a Cat in the Hat book. Thanks. This guy loves fucking Islands of Adventure. Thanks for replying to my comment on the last podcast. I appreciate it. But after paying attention on social media and Reddit, I just realized how casual I am about gaming. I'm so glad I'm not some fucking nerd obsessed with frame rates. 9-year-old me, and now 25-year-old me, couldn't care less. I get lovely hand jobs. I can tell you who these people are, but you can tell who these people are by their complaints. What the fuck? I didn't proofread most of this. They probably get their backs squeezed in the mouth because they can't get laid, so they have to squeeze backs. They have it tough if they have to squeeze backside for a sandwich, and you never know they could possibly have to sleep on their stomachs so they don't mess up their sheets like the fat bastards they are. I'm gonna be honest, man. I understand nothing you said. Maybe I need that Cat in the Hat book after all, Black and Chandler. All right, whatever. Mr. Maug writes in, here's a sexy man. Here's someone I love to hear from. Well, Jesse, while you play Batman Arkham Origins, I'll be playing Batman Arkham Shadow on the MetaQuest 3. I'll admit, when I started, I wasn't sure if I'd like it or not, but once I opened it up, it definitely felt like Batman Arkham Asylum in VR. It also saved me this past week as I threw out my back and I can't be sitting or laying down. So VR was the only way I could play video games for at least several days. Well, first of all, sorry to hear about your back. I hope you're feeling better. I hope you're making great improvement there and that everything's okay medically speaking. But I'm glad to see you're having fun. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned this because I was just looking this game up. I was like trying to figure out, is this game on Steam? Is there some way I can connect my MetaQuest 2 to Steam and play this some other way? Please, because I actually, for the first time in like 2 years, am very interested in playing my MetaQuest 2, but yes, alas, there is no way to play this game. It is only available on the new MetaQuest 3, which they finally introduced a cheaper version of, and it's also available on PlayStation VR 2, but I'm just not going to buy either of those things, so I guess I'm not playing Batman Arkham Shadow, but this game does look very good. It's made by Camouflage, the people that made that Iron Man VR game, and yeah, the reviews are really good. People say this game fucking rocks, and it really does feel great to play Batman in VR. So I'm a little jelly. I do want to play this game. I'm not going to upgrade to a Quest 3 when I've only spent like maybe 30, 40 hours in total using my Quest 2. It just doesn't make sense. But I'm happy for you. I'm very excited to get into Arkham Origins. And Mr. Maug, I just feel like we're kindred spirits in this way. We just always have similar things going on. This is what I like about you. You're a good boy. You love Jesus. And our last comment of the week comes from Javier Aguilera, who writes in, Christina Aguilera is my mother. No, he says, hey, Jesse, you've been horny while... hey, Jesse, have you ever been horny while playing on Xbox? I always get horny and think about men destroying me, like I get destroyed online. I would love to be someone's little Master Chief. I would accidentally put this as the wrap-up comment, wouldn't I? I would fucking do that. I really need to reevaluate the kind of person I am on this podcast. That's all I got to say about that. Yeah. Yeah, who doesn't get horny while they're playing Xbox? That's what Xbox is all about, man. So, yeah, thank you for writing in with that. That's. I feel like that was a very productive conversation. So, well, I'm going to go travel back in time so that 9/11 didn't happen so I can throw myself off one of those fucking towers because that was awful. But unfortunately, that is how we're ending the podcast. Fuck. Someone quick write in with something else to say. But, yep, that's it for this week's podcast. You guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for participating, even if some of you are a little fucking horny, racist, unhinged, spectrum chasing, spectrum leaning people. But you know, whatever. It's a good week to play some video games. Get ready for Indiana Jones. Get ready for the Game Awards. Get ready for all the exciting video game related stuff we got coming up in the past or the next week. I will see you guys next Saturday, not next Thursday, to accommodate the Game Awards. So, alas, we will be going a full 9 days between episodes this one time. But it will be worth it when Jeff Keighley gets on stage and says, my favorite game this year was Shadow Generations. Please give it up for Shadow Generations. And then Shadow wins at the Game Awards. And they say, PlayStation's gay. Nintendo's gay. Xbox is awesome. It'll be awesome. Dude. Fucking Sonic's going to win. Xbox is going to win. But yeah, have a great week. Be safe. Watch some hockey. Look both ways before crossing the street. Wear your seatbelts, but also live life on the edge. Maybe order that second alcoholic beverage when you're out to dinner. Maybe say, fuck it. Put bacon on the cheeseburger. My doctor doesn't know. Just, balance living safely while also living dangerously. Live life to the fullest. Play Xbox. Be nice to people who grew up with Kinect. And write in with your zip code. Thank you. Have a great week. And until next week, power your dreams.